Okay guys, welcome. So welcome to the Nolimitspreneur Meetup Group. Again, my name is Maher. Abiad. Thank you so much for taking the time to come out. I really appreciate you guys coming out and to experience something. This topic is different than last month's topic. For those that aren't part of the Meetup Group that are new, we had a meeting last month on breaking through fears and breaking through the fears that we have, fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of judgment of others. That's really important. And for myself, I really want to take a holistic approach to all of this. And every month we'll have a different theme and whatnot. The point is that your life obviously is not just compartmentalized on having confidence and not having productivity or having good habits but bad mindset. If one of these areas is failing, then you have one hole in a ship, the whole ship's going down. That's, you know what I mean? Even if it's a small hole and it's taking on water. So I really want to speak about time today and time protection, especially what I like to call, I know we all call it time management, but I like to call it time protection because your time is absolutely really important. So let's get started. So let's see by a show of hands, who here values their time? Excellent. So give me, why do you value your time so much? Give me an example.
Just so I can get things done.
Perfect.
And so I can schedule things, try to control as well.
Perfect. And thank you for that. And who feels that they just have no time during the day? Who feels that sometimes you're feeling that you're just trying to do things and you're just running out of time? Sometimes we get into that where it's like we're doing busy work, but we're not really doing work that actually is getting us.
Procrastinating, yeah. Like sometimes I plan my day and I have some little part-time work in the morning. When I get home, I was like, oh, I'm just going to lay down a little bit in the sofa, and then it became the whole afternoon nap.
Right.
And then I wake up feeling really good.
Right. This is something we're definitely going to address today. Who also feels like they might be running around like a chicken with their head cut off? Oftentimes, right? We're trying to do all these things. We get so busy. We always try to busy our lives, right? But are we busying our lives for the right reasons? Why are we doing what we're doing? The reason I want you to ask yourself is always why you're doing something. Always why you're doing something. Because when you do something and it becomes normal, after a while it becomes a routine. And then it becomes so normal that you don't question it. Or you see society doing it. And then it becomes normal. What I want you to get out of the meeting today is always question everything. And this is a lot of things that I'm going to be talking about today. So time, as you know, is you cannot see time. You can't really hold time. But time affects your life in so many different ways. Time, you're bound by the time. And again, I want you to leave this meeting different than you came into it. And I want you to be able to leave this meeting always asking yourself, why am I doing what I'm doing? Is it busy work? Is it productive work? Is it moving the needle in my life? Last month I talked about having your North Star and always relating your life, what you're doing right now, to your North Star. Is it your actual life's purpose? A couple days ago I released a couple of videos on my YouTube channel that I'm trying to put out more videos now. And one of the videos was how to find your passions in life, and another video was how to find your purpose in life. And it's really important to know your passions and purpose, because when you're waking up and you don't know what you're doing, what ends up happening is people, life, society, things fill the gaps. And then you end up finding yourself doing things that you don't want to do or you never intended to do. Guys, what I want you to get out of today's meeting is time is your fuel. Time is your most precious resource. Unfortunately, who agrees that we waste a lot of time? Right? Unanimous. Why do we do that? Why are we doing that? It's crucial that we cut it out today. I want you to leave with a different mindset than you came in, to treat time like oxygen. Because every day we're coming into this, every day we wake up, we have such a little bit of time to make a difference in this world. Even if you don't have a business, you have a family that you want to take care of. Your time management and the way you treat time and the way you protect it is crucial. I think of myself as a, in football, they have the linebackers at the front, and then you have the quarterback, and they're, as soon as they say, "Huh," they're trying to protect the quarterback from getting sacked. I want you to think of yourself as the front line defense, and the quarterback is time. And I want you to protect that quarterback at all costs, because it's absolutely crucial. Because your life is a gift. I want you to really remember that. Your life is an absolute gift. From the time you're born to the time you pass, you're bound by time. Time is keeping you in here. But we don't know how long this is. So we want to make sure, and for us as humans, we consider time broken up by days because of night, day, night, day. So that's our sort of physical, visual trigger. But in essence, eliminate night and day, and it's just one straight line. From the time you're born to the time you pass. And your life is a gift. So we need to treat time very, very crucial. We can't just be immersed in time like a boat on the water and letting the waves push us in different directions. Pretend you have no motor, you have no sails. You're going to let the wave formation push you through. And is that really how you want to run your life? Do you want life to kind of take you in a different direction? Who wants to have a life that they control, that they feel fulfilled? Hands up. Great. So I want to start by saying a point that's going to really highlight how much time we don't have. So we've all heard the statement that we all have 24 hours in a day, correct? But that's really not true. There's physically 24 hours in the day that we have between the next day. But how much usable time do you have? How much actual usable time do you have? So, what do we do for 8 hours of the day? Can we all agree we sleep about 8 hours a day? That's, the average, correct? Average. Some people might sleep more.
No, less.
Less? How much less?
Like 5 hours.
5 hours. 6 hours. Wow, you guys, I should catch up. That's good. That's fantastic. No, that's really, really good. Let's say on average, 8 hours. So we say, okay, we have 16 hours in the day that we have to use. But then, we have these routines and these habits and these tasks that we do daily, right? So I wanted to ask myself, how much time do I really have in the day? So I set out the last little bit and spent a couple days doing a little bit of an experiment. And I wanted to see what I do every single day repeatedly. And I wanted to write down how much time I spent doing each of these tasks. So, for example, brushing my teeth, flossing, shower, working out, getting dressed, getting undressed, choosing what clothes to wear, shaving, picking up my phone, keys, and wallet when you're leaving the house, putting your phone on the charger, taking your phone off the charger, time in the toilet, we all have to do it, putting in my contacts, taking out my contacts, eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner, taking my vitamins, underarm, driving, waiting in traffic. And the number I got was absolutely astonishing. Almost 4 hours a day I was doing these sort of daily routines and habits that were just, just to survive, just to live. So I was like, well, wait a minute, that's just normal things that I have to do, like eat and drink and sleep and all of this. Now I have less time in the day to really do things. But then we have to pay
So
for.
we girls has way less.
Sorry.
We girls have a way less. Yeah, do the hair, the makeup, the laundry, and
Oh yeah. This doesn't even include cooking time, laundry time.
playing with pets or kids.
Exactly. Exactly. And this is the whole point of this experiment that I really want you guys to take note of. Everybody's walking around like there's just unlimited amounts of time. But when you walk around with that mentality and that mindset, what happens? You start living as if that's real. As I mentioned in the last meeting last month, your thoughts create eventually your actions. The progress methodology. Your thoughts create your beliefs and your feelings, which then create your actions, which then yield you your results in life. For those that missed the last meeting. So if you're walking around with your thoughts thinking, I have so much time, I can waste, I can do this and that, guess what's going to happen? Your results are going to be based on that. Your inputs in your life that you're living every day, the results that you're getting right now are because of what you're bringing into it. Your inputs. Your life right now is because of how you've been performing actions up until this day. So who thinks that they can better their life from here, and who wants to better their life from here and improve their life? And who wants to improve their time, and who feels that they're craving to have more time and better time spent? Hands up. Right? So, we all have to work. We all have to pay for our lifestyle, our rent, our food. So we go to our jobs during the day, for the most part during the week. So now we actually have less time. Because when you usually go into a job, you're not really doing anything for yourself, you're doing something for the employer. You're working at Starbucks, you're serving people, you're working at an engineering firm, you're doing mathematical calculations, you're an architect, you're creating blueprints. So we actually now, so what happened to this we all have 24 hours in a day thing? Who just had an aha moment right now? Anybody? Hands up? We need to realize that there's a lot of time that is being taken up, and we actually have very, very less usable time. In this talk right now, what I'm going to jump into, I wrote this book last year. It's called Time Thieves. It's on Amazon. You can get it on Kindle or paperback. I talk about 15 what I call time thieves. Items, things that are stealing your time away. And in this meeting right now, in this session, I'm going to go through 5 of them to help us kind of divulge more of where your time actually is going. We have a ton to talk to. So, who here loves multitasking? Anybody? Oh, a lot of. Everybody just jumped up on that one. That's great.
Brushing the teeth and drying the hair.
Great. So what I want to do is I want to actually have. So this is our little friend who's trying to juggle so many things at once, trying to balance everything at once. So I need 2 volunteers. We're going to have a little fun game now. Let's get a little thing. Volunteer number 1. Who has? You have a. Is that an iPhone?
Yeah.
Perfect. You have the stopwatch on there, right? Stopwatch app. Can you open up the stopwatch? Great. Can I see? Perfect. When I tell you, you can press start. Okay. Volunteer number 2 is going to be the person who's going to really be part of the experiment. I need somebody who's got good. I know you said it last time. Who says good handwriting and knows the alphabet. And who's, a pretty quick writer. Anybody?
You lost me at good handwriting.
You got good handwriting?
No.
Okay. You want to come up? Sure, let's do it. Come on up. What was your name?
Thomas.
Thomas, thank you for coming. Nice to meet you, Thomas.
Thank you.
Great. So, if you want to stand on this side. Okay, here's the experiment. Multitasking is a myth. Multitasking is not real and not efficient in any which way. Your brain can focus on only one thing at a time. And I don't really have to say much to this because we all know why governments and states and provinces banned distracted driving.
Correct.
Texting while driving, using your phone while driving. Because what happens is you get so immersed in one thing, the brain shuts off to any other external items. And what happens is when you start multitasking, and we'll see this in a second, there's a delay period between you going from one task to another task. And that's what I call switch tasking. So you're not really multitasking, you're switch tasking. Well, many people, do you agree, try to multitask to try to get more things done. But in this experiment, here's what we're going to do. In the first run, we're going to do this twice. In the first run, what I want you to do is I want you to write, try to fit maybe down here and then down here, just in case you have some room. You're going to write A1, B2, C3. You're going to go A through Z, 1 through 26. 26 letters in the alphabet.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah.
As fast as you can. A1, B2.
Okay.
So, timer ready? Yes. As soon as I say go, we're going to do that, and you're going to end up on Z26 at the end, obviously.
Okay.
And then when he gets to Z26, we're going to stop. Ready, set, go.
I missed something.
Okay, stop. Okay, so.
That's not right.
and 13, oh 13.
Oh,
No problem, no problem. What was the time? 40 seconds.
almost 40 seconds.
40 seconds, no problem. But that's 40 seconds not right.
Yeah.
So if we say, I mean, you could probably add another few seconds on there for what? No problem. Now what we want to do, we want to do it again. Ready to do this again?
Okay.
Okay, reset the timer.
Yeah.
Okay. This time, what I want you to do is this. I want you to just maybe use half this page to write the letters.
Okay.
Just go A through Z, just like normal.
Yep.
When you're done, the letters, then change the numbers 1 through 26.
Okay.
On this side. Okay. There you go. Ready? Hold on. Timer ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Set. Go.
Numbers?
Yes. Time? 34. So, as I mentioned, we made mistakes on the first one. So if you actually did it right, we would have had more time, almost maybe 42, 44 seconds. Yeah, around 44 seconds probably. Here we had around 34 seconds. You were actually able to get it done faster because your brain is focusing on one thing instead of multiple things trying to go back and forth. So this, thank you so much, Thomas, appreciate it. Thank you. Give him a hand.
Simple and effective.
I love doing this one because it just proves the anti-multitasking thing. And this is something I really speak about, and I even have this experiment in the book as well. When you want to do many, many things, it's better just to get things done. And the other problem is, when we try to multitask, oftentimes we end up from a productivity point of view, we end up with half projects. Who's a victim of working and doing maybe half projects,
Yeah.
right?
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. So if something's not at 100%, then it's useless, right? So this little experiment I wanted to show that we are wasting a lot of time by trying to do too many things at once when we're not allowing our brain, which naturally can focus on one thing at a time, to better ourselves. So the point of this is to just focus on one thing, get it done 100%, then move on to the next thing. Yes?
It's not only about doing many things at the same time, I think. It's also about, for example, at home sometimes, I know that I need to do some chores at home, but sometimes I go to the kitchen, start doing something in the kitchen, and then go to the bedroom and it's like start picking up clothes, and then I didn't finish the kitchen, but then I'm already doing. When I see, I didn't do anything until the end.
Yeah.
And it used to happen this the same in the bank when I was working, and I used to stop many times to attend different matters. And after the end of the day, I didn't really finish doing anything because
Yeah.
it was a little bit of all the parts. So
And that's these external distractions that come and this is exactly where we're going to next. I'm gonna merge three things into one. Email, phone calls. Email, phone calls.
Just
There you go.
like
That was on cue.
Yeah.
Good timing. And then messaging.
Yeah.
he got paid for doing that.
That's right. Show of hands. How many times do you check your email in a day?
Constantly.
Constantly. How many times do you check your email?
Yeah, thumb's always on the.
Thumbs always there. Anybody else?
Yeah, probably.
20, 30 times.
Yeah,
Just
probably.
a number of times.
Yeah.
Email is such a time thief because the problem with, and I'm going to group these together, but they mean the same thing. Email, unsolicited and unscheduled phone calls, and then messaging. So it could be WhatsApp, it could be iMessage, it could be Facebook Messenger. What do all these have in common? They're all reactionary things that happen. They're all reactionary. I used to have my email up, and every time I would hear that ding, whatever I'm working on, my brain would completely shift.
Yeah.
And now guess what happened to my productivity? The dopamine wants to go and see what's going on with this message. Or if I get a call, especially the worst thing is I now live with my phone mostly on Do Not Disturb. Because I like to have any calls that happen to be scheduled calls. Because what happens is, who's gotten a call from somebody that you answer and you're like, hello, and they say, hey, my name's so-and-so, do you mind, do you have 20 minutes to 30 minutes for a survey? Anybody have that before?
Yeah, I'm good to say no to that. I'm really good at choosing.
Right.
Right where it comes.
All of these are reactionary. Your phone, your email, I'll start with email. Email, you need to set a time to check your email. Instead of reacting to when an email comes in, this is the biggest problem in the workforce, or even personally. You have, like on my cell phone right now, I don't have it to fetch automatically. You can have a fetch download automatically every 15 minutes. I have that turned off. I only will check email a couple times a day. Sometimes if I'm planning an event or something like that, or I need something, it might be more, but there are certain times, like for example, 11 a.m. and 7 p.m. That's it. I'm gonna go check the mail, the email. How many times do you guys actually go check your physical mail? You check every day,
Yeah.
but once.
Once.
Oh yeah,
Once.
Yeah.
So why are we treating email any different?
Because the guy doesn't go there the whole day every second.
Right? Our life, we're being pulled by somebody else and something else. True? If you look at it, if you honestly look at it, are you living your life or are you being pulled into responding to surveys. If anybody ever asks you for a survey, you always say no, right? Messaging. Every time that messaging comes in, whatever you're working on, you have to go to the other room. Who walks around with their phone in their hand when they go from one room to the house, to the washroom, or to the kitchen? Like you're always carrying your phone around, right? True. What? Yes? Am I right? True?
Yeah.
Yeah, true. So
Jesus.
it's a bad habit that we've gone into. We have become so attached to external, cravings that we can't even be away from the phone. I've literally left the house, forgot the phone at home, and driven back 10 minutes in traffic just to retrieve the phone and just go back out again. It's crazy. And then messaging as well. We need to start living our lives as we're creating the path instead of reacting to the path. You're doing something throughout the day, you get a phone call, you get an email, this message comes in, this thing comes in, and then we never end up getting to where we want at the end of the day. Why? Let me ask then, who feels that they're not as productive as they could be? Right? Pretty much the whole room. Because agree, yes or no, that we have all these triggers and distractions, correct? Mm-hmm. I want you to create your life based on what you want to do when you want to do it. Not when others' things tell you when to do it. Our devices are created to be very reactionary. And every day you're going to wake up and go to sleep and go, man, I was so busy today. I didn't get anything done. Anybody have that feeling? Right? Who wakes up in the morning and the first thing they do is check their email? Check their phone.
Sleep beside of my bed.
You sleep beside of it. Do you check it first thing?
No, I put it on Do Not Disturb.
Perfect.
Until like 8 o'clock.
Excellent. And then you check. And then you check, and then messages, emails. Yeah, that's the. For a lot of us, I have it as well, and Do Not Disturb during the night, obviously, and then in the morning, the best thing to do is not check your phone first thing. And that's why it's really important to have a plan for where you want to go. The next one I want to jump into is social media, and I want to tell you a crazy story that I read about. It was an experiment done in the 1950s, okay, with rats. There was an experiment done, and this is a rat, and they put a probe in the rat deep into the brain of the rat. And what would happen is, whenever the rat would press this lever down, okay, a brain stimulation would trigger in the rat's brain. The findings were absolutely crazy. These rats were pressing this trigger, this lever switch, up to 7,000 times a day to get this mental stimulation, this stimulation in the brain. Okay? Now here's where it gets really crazy. Male rats, to get to the lever, pretend that's the lever, this pad, to get to that lever is electrocuted. Is a shock. So as soon as they go over it, they get shocked. These rats would actually avoid female rats in heat just to cross this pad, which shocks them, just to trigger the lever. Also, female rats would leave their pups, newborn pups that they're like newborn babies, to go and press the lever, just to get them brain stimulation. What's even more crazy is they would do this and also avoid eating and drinking even though they were hungry and thirsty. What's even crazier is the researchers had to take this thing out. Otherwise, the rats were gonna die because of starvation. The whole point of that story is because of this.
We are the rats.
We are the rats. Something like that. Who finds themselves going down the rabbit hole on social media when they just find themselves doing this? Hey, I'm just going to see what's happening on social media for a minute, but maybe 10, 15 minutes pass by, and you're just swiping up, swiping up, swiping up. This, my friends, is that stimulation, that dopamine release. We're getting that unnatural release of dopamine just to get that fix. Exactly what the rats were getting. They had a higher surface in the brain, and then they implanted lower, and that's where the stimulation was really showed the more effect, where they wouldn't even eat or drink just to get the stimulation. They would shock themselves just for the stimulation. Social media, anything where you're swiping up, is one of your biggest time thieves, because what happens is all you're doing is you're going down the rabbit hole and you're just wasting time consuming. You can only do two things in this world. You can be a consumer or you can be a creator. Obviously, a lot of us were consumers. You know, we're just consuming whatever's on social media. But if you want to create that life where you have that North Star, where you know exactly where, you have to create your life. And that means you have to be, this whole talk is about you asking, why am I doing this? Every time you do something now, you need to ask yourself, why am I doing this? And is it taking me to my end result? Because remember, what did we say at the beginning? We don't know how much time we have. And this is what I really want you guys to get out of the talk today, is we don't know, I mean, we know our birth, but we don't know our passing. We don't know how much time we have. And it's really important that if it doesn't align with your end goal in life of who you want to become, does it really matter? Is it really that important to see what so-and-so is doing that doesn't affect you? It doesn't affect you. A lot of this stuff that we do doesn't affect you, doesn't bring any value to your life. True or false?
I will disagree a little bit about
Sure.
that because of my situation with this. My whole family and my friends are in Brazil, okay? So many times I thought about shutting down Facebook page,
Sure.
for example. But the Facebook page is my way to have that feeling of connection with home, because they're not here, and it's the only way that they, at the same time, see how I'm doing life, right? So it's kind of hard. In my situation, I feel hard. I try to spend less time
Yes.
there, so I just go and check, like, okay, this person, okay, post
Exactly.
something like I'm alive and get out.
It's exactly like shopping. What happens when we go to the grocery store and we don't have a grocery list? Our shopping cart is a little bit bigger than what we wanted it to be, right? If you go into the grocery store without a list, you're going to come out with a shopping cart bigger than you planned.
Yeah.
The whole point of this, in, out. That's it. Correct? What happens is the excessive stuff and the unnecessary stuff. Because think about it, if you're saying, oh, well, you know what, I only spend 10 minutes a day extra on Instagram or social media or whatever it is. But imagine how many days you're doing that. And that's stealing, remember, your life is based in this time bucket. And every day, it's doing this. So you're selling your time to other things and other people. Everything that you do, you're selling your time. Everything you're doing. So I want you to ask yourself, who am I selling my time to? And what am I getting back in return? Because isn't it normal that you pay somebody for something, you get something in return? If I'm going to go and buy a coffee, I get the coffee. Well, your time, is that not like oxygen?
Yeah.
Should you not get something back from it? Because that's you slow with the flame. That's your number one resource. Here's where I think we were talking about who was saying, not saying no to people. Another thing I talk in the book is not saying no. We all want to be, again, people pleasers. We all want to do things for others, whether it's at work or in personal life. Again, this can apply to a work situation, personal life. We say yes way too much and we say no way too little, correct? Give me, maybe talk more about sort of what you were saying at the beginning. You were saying that you don't say no enough.
Yeah.
I mean, what's...
For example, I work for Weight Watchers and we do certain meetings. If someone asks me, can you cover for me a meeting next week? That's okay. But another coworker asked me, can you cover for me that in 2 months, the night meeting on Monday, because I'm going to do a class. And I even didn't stop thinking that I was going to leave something that was important to me, some appointment that was important in my life, to help her. I say right away, yes, I can do it. And I regret so much because I was like, what I was thinking? Like, okay, I'm getting paid for that, but it's not worth what I'm missing in my personal life.
And this situation can apply to all of us, correct? Like in any type of variation of this type of situation. Hey, can you help me move on Sunday? Can you help me do this? Can you do this? It's the same thing as, can you take this 30-minute survey? It's the same thing. The best thing to do, and what I say in the book, is you should always say no first. You know why? Because that's going to buy you a couple things. Number one, you having to do it. And number two, time to think about if you want to do it or not. Because when you say no, usually you can say yes afterwards if you change your mind, correct? It's exactly what you said. Are you creating the life or somebody else is creating the life for you? Who's driving your car? Your life is a blank canvas. And every day you're painting on it. But then it's permanent. Because you can't go back in time. Right? When you're older, 60, 70, 80, exactly what she just said. Regrets. That word is like murder. It's so powerful. We do not want to have regrets. This is why it's so important to really question, who am I selling my time to? The last one I'm going to talk about is sitting in traffic, sitting at the doctor's office, waiting. How much time do we waste waiting? Waiting at the restaurant to order, in the lineup, or at the fast food place, sitting in traffic. I mean, gosh, just 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. rush hour. We waste so much time waiting. What I talk about is, instead of letting that time go as, okay, you know what, I'm here, I'm going to let it pass, flip it around. Use that waiting time to educate yourself. Because then you're not losing it. If you're sitting in traffic, start listening to a podcast on personal development.
Yeah.
I'm launching the Nolimitspreneur podcast in about a week or so. You should listen to that podcast. That's going to definitely help. I had to plug that in. Thank you for that. I had to pitch that. Listen to a podcast. Maybe have a YouTube video on in the background. Even you can listen to the audio. When you're sitting at the doctor's office, have Duolingo up. Learn a new language. The point that I want to get here is, don't think that the time that you're spending waiting can be allotted to wasteful time. Instead, use that time to do something to better your personal development, to better your life. Learn about something. And education is the best.
Yeah.
All agree?
Yeah.
Excellent. Because now, that's what I do every time I'm sitting at the doctor's office or driving. I have the maybe a YouTube video playing in the background just so I'm constantly bettering myself. Because when you better yourself, you're going to be better for your family. You can help your family more. You can help your community more. You can help your friends and family more. Your education didn't stop at 18 when you graduated school. Life is a continual learning. So, what I want to show now is what we can do. So, who knows what they're doing tomorrow morning at 11 a.m.? Anybody? You do? You do? Who doesn't know? Few people. The best way to make sure that your day is created the way you want to is to plan it out. And that's where time blocking comes in. Time blocking is an amazing thing. I use Google Calendar for this. And I'll look at my day, and here's 9 a.m., and here's 10, and here's 11. I'm going to put a little box here, and I'm going to say exactly what I'm doing from this time. And then from 11 to 1 o'clock, this is what I'm doing. And you know what? I need to post a YouTube video. Perfect. This is the amount of allotted time I'm putting. My whole day is already scheduled out. My whole day is already scheduled out. I know exactly how much time I'm spending on one thing. Because then I'm not allowing distractions to come in and create things that I don't want to do or that don't benefit me. For example, I have this YouTube video to record and edit on all this stuff. A friend calls me and says, hey, you want to grab a coffee? At this time. But I already have this blocked off.
Right.
I'm going to reschedule that for a time, maybe another day, where I can say, you know what, I'm going to fit you into this block here. Because then when I'm with you, I can focus on you. I can give you my undivided attention. This is the same thing I was talking about the phone calls. Unsolicited and unscheduled phone calls are killer. Because they're constantly, your day, think of it as blocks. So either it's a block that you want something to be in or a block that you don't, but then you're putting something in there. And then your time is depleting, your time is depleting, your time is depleting. This is all time protection. You're creating protection for your time. Stop going around thinking your time is just abundant and the older you get, who agrees? The older we are getting, the less time we think we have. You get that feeling? When I was 20, I thought I had all the time in the world. I look back at, I'm going to be 43 next month. I don't know where that last 20 years of my life went. I know I wasted my 20s completely. I didn't have a purpose or passions in life. I didn't know what I wanted to do. Finally, in my 30s and now getting into coaching and training and personal development training and stuff like that, I'm finally seeing what my North Star is, end of life. Hopefully I live to see 75, and if I do, then I can look back and say, you know what? I've created the last part of my life on my own, because this is exactly what I wanted to do, and I didn't let anybody push me, pull me in a different direction. Because you have so much mental energy in a day. And every decision that you make, some people say that, well, if I plan everything out, that's not going to give me freedom or more time. But it's actually the opposite. By creating a plan and budgeting everything that you're doing and knowing what you're doing, you're actually creating a better life for yourself. Because every decision that you make is mental energy. Have you guys heard of mental fatigue or decision fatigue?
Yeah.
What am I going to wear in the morning? What am I going to eat for breakfast? What am I going to do this? Every decision that you make throughout the day is taking away from your mental energy. Forget about time. Your mental energy is very important. Who's gotten home from a long day at work? Maybe had who has a desk job maybe, but at the end of the day, you feel more mentally tired. Like your brain is just, you feel like cabbage. That's your mental, your mental fatigue has really drained throughout the day. This is why you want to put your more creative tasks in the beginning of the day when you have more mental energy. Instead of at night, you know when you drive and like you've driven 5 minutes and you look, you're like, how did I get here? Everything's automatic, right? Because you've driven so much and you maybe driven the same road so much. Put those type of tasks, the automatic tasks, at the end of the day because you don't need as much mental energy, correct? And the thing that you need, really your brain power, which is your Einstein time, that goes in the beginning of the day. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Because if you don't have a plan, somebody's going to give you their plan. True?
Yeah.
You have a choice of where you put your time. You can leave the meeting today and you can watch TV, play video games, go back to social media. But I wanted you to come this evening just so you could leave with knowledge of the question of why. Why am I doing what I'm doing? Because instead of doing things that take away your time, I want you to live a life that you've created, that you want to live, where you're actually, see, it's not about, it's about you doing things that you want to do. It's about you spending the time creating the life that you want to have. Because again, it all goes back to regrets. At the end of the day, regrets are the worst thing in the world. Worst thing. Because you can't change them. And the longer they go, and the older you get, the harder it is to change something. I want you to spend your time on the people that matter. I want you to travel if that's what you want. If you want to do activities and exercise, spend it on the things that actually matter to you instead of things that people are trying to, and they lurk in the shadows, trying to take away from you. Because at the end of the day, we have one life. We have one life to live and one time to live it. And it's not like a video game where you can just press the reset button. The decisions and the actions you take today, affect what happens in 1 year from now, affect what happens in 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 30 years from now. Every day, you have an open canvas to paint. And the actions that you create today are going to dictate how you paint your life. And that all leads to how you spend your time wisely or your time wastefully.